Welcome to another episode of the Huge Podcast. The Huge Podcast, and I told you I was off.
What is up, everyone? Hello, how's everybody doing? How's the weekend? It's Saturday, wherever you are in the world, maybe not in the West, where the American side, but I know it's Saturday in Asia, in Australia. How's your weekend, everyone? My weekend started out like this. I get to do this. This is fun. Before we do get to start our conversation with a very special guest today, I'd just like to point out, like, I did my workout yesterday. I wasn't really feeling it because I've been on a calorie deficit. But still able to finish out my workout. It was cool, but I kind of wanted to do that workout with the Arsa bars of Cagayan de Oro City. They're sporting this real cool, like, pull-up bars. I heard they're really good, and I've heard also I'm craving for those pizzas in them good pizzas at Demetrios. I heard it's really good. I'm dying to get one, to get my hands on those. Like, I want to taste it. I want to feel what it's like, and I'm pretty sure if I do, like, I know this pretty good nutrition coach, AA Fitness. Shout out Coach Anna Arquiza. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't mind me having pizza on my cheat day, and on the side, like, maybe one cone of Nenecitas Sorbetes Filipino ice cream. They're pretty good. It's coconut based. It's healthy. I think it's good for my diet. Other than that, also probably enjoy some music, some good music, some tunes with those guys up in Comunidad sa Canto. They make good music. And today probably will have a good time as well because we have a guest, somebody I knew before. Probably I could coin my sensei in most parts. Like, I've had the luxury to be under her tutelage in high school and even in college. What a joy to have her around as a teacher. And without further ado, I want to introduce to you everybody the one, the only, Dr. Amphie. How are you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
My good evening from the Philippines, specifically from Cagayan de Oro.
Oh, actually,
Hello
it's 6
there.
p.m. Yeah. We have a time difference, by the way.
Uh-huh. What
It's
was
actually
your time again there? You said
uh,
it's
it's actually in the UAE. It's around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're
ah
kind of behind.
4 hours.
Wow. Hey, I just want to say, I just want to extend my thanks. How do you call yourself now? Are you comfortable being addressed as a doctor, Ma'am Amphie, or Miss Amphie? I'm a former student. How should I call you now?
Still Miss. I'm really
Miss.
still called Miss Amphie, but
Mm,
of course, some would really be comfortable calling me, like formal Dr. Dinagsao and like that.
mm.
But when I introduce myself, I always say I'm Miss Amphie, Miss A. Remember? You
Yeah,
guys
Miss.
call me Miss
I
A.
never called you Miss A. Probably in the lower batches, but I always
Uh-huh.
remember you as Miss Amphie because, again, I
Yeah.
want to extend my thanks. I truly believe that you have, as a teacher, there are levels to this, and I don't want to put the other teachers under the bus. They're really good, but I just want to be biased because you're here. And yeah, on top of that, I really aced my algebra because of the way you taught me. And even when I was in college, I knew that the subjects you were handling were very intimidating. Edu 21, I can't remember them all, but it was more on assessment, right? And everybody was
Yes, you
dreading it.
remembered.
I remember everything. That's
What
why
was that? What was that decade? A decade ago, right?
um, don't remind me. I look older than you. Look, see. So
Oh, of course not.
probably around 2007, something like that.
Uh-uh.
Ring the bell?
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I was under your class, and everybody was dreading you. But knowing that you were my teacher in
In high school.
maths back in
Uh-huh.
high school, like I had an idea coming in. I'm pretty confident. Everybody's scared of me, but I'm confident going into your class. I'm gonna do good, and I did. And I
Yeah.
loved it. It was about statistics and all that. But we don't want to get too geeky and technical about education because I just want to connect with you as the person
Mhm.
you are. Like I want to thank you for being that teacher. That inspired me to be a teacher. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Sometimes in the Philippines, of course, you know that if you want to really have a career that brings a lot in your bank account, I think teaching is not one of those. But, at the end of the day, if we hear this from a student that, we are remembered, we had an impact, they learned a lot, and
Sayang.
I get those private messages at some point, and then I also randomly at any day, some maybe your classmates before would really tell me, uh, just like you, they dread entering my class. They're intimidated.
They knew.
I think they use kinder words, but maybe when they were in college, they hated me
Oh,
because,
I
of
like that. I
course,
like I like that you're being blunt about that.
yes, they wish I was absent, but of course, I never was absent, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
work ethic.
so maybe because I know what I demand, I know the skill that I require from my students, and um, they can, but they also know that I don't shortchange them in my class. I prepare for my class. I come. I know I know my craft, and
Absolutely.
parang I also expect from my students that you really show me that you can demonstrate the skill, that you can apply what I expect you to demonstrate to me, right? Something like that. But it's very reassuring when you read messages, like, of course, when they are not anymore your students, it becomes very authentic and sincere,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah. Because
and
there's
and
there's all this like vested interested like teacher, you're the best. Like everybody wants to be the
yeah,
teachers because they want to get S's. So
correct. But when they
that's
already have graduated, and
they remember you.
they remember, like, for example, when they took the board exam. Did you take your board
Ooh,
exam?
of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did. Oh,
I did.
so usually when they take the board exam, and after they took the board exam, well, they would share to me while they were taking the test. They'd remember you. This is exactly what you said. This is exactly what you've learned. This exactly
Yeah,
the
on
technique
point.
that was shared. Something like those. So
I remember.
it some at the end of the day, it's really not the money. It's the passion. It's the teaching is more of a vocation. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
a job. It's a career. It's a vocation. It's even a ministry at some point.
Yeah, because if it was for the money, then probably there'd be a lot of people on the hype train already. Like
Yeah.
wanted to become a teacher. I'm guilty of that. The reason why I took special ed because I knew it was paying good abroad,
Uh-huh.
and all this time I took 4 years of that, knowing that I'm gonna go abroad anyway. So
That was
but
initial motivation.
yes, it's all about like really money at the beginning, but at the end, like if this is not for you, you're not gonna last in this industry. Like you gotta have the heart, you gotta love the kids. Yeah, I mean, even just the fact of like
True.
being around kids. Like I admit, growing up, I can't take. I mean, I'm this old. I can't take the energy of the high schoolers. It's just different. But I can take in like the elementary kids. Like I love them to death. Like they're so innocent. Like everything you teach them is very valuable, and they will carry that on for the rest of their lives. But
Mhm.
teaching high school is different, and and I remember you did teach us back in high school, and you
I
gotta
was your math teacher, right?
yes, I learned so much. And this guy's math teacher too, Coy Sarmento, he's in the show.
Who?
I'm sorry for being late. I was listening to your talk a while ago. It's good seeing you, ma'am. Like
Hello.
it's like the last memory I remember is algebra. That's all I remember.
Mm.
Yeah, it's algebra.
Algebra.
Yeah, in the semi honors
Was I
class.
strict? Was I strict? Because
I
I think
was.
that was what year was that?
It was two twenty
2005.
2004 2005. I
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
think
think
that
so.
was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I know.
All all good.
2001. 2001.
No,
It was
dude.
first year. It was first year.
Oh, you had her in first year. Oh, okay.
Yeah, first year.
Because Racha, I had you in fourth year, right?
No, it was third year.
A third
And
year.
I think it was like very ideal too that I had you that time because that was the time where chemistry came in. I needed that boost of confidence, like because
I
I wasn't really having it with geometry. 'Cause I can't think in shapes and angles, But when algebra came around, it was hard. But the way you carried yourself and the way you were. I don't know if you were really that empathetic to our situation because at the same time you were really you were strict, but you gave like you rewarded people who worked at it, and
So
I was
you
I was
received the
working.
privilege cards?
Can't remember, but I do remember that I was getting good grades from you, and that
Uh,
kind of gave a boost of confidence. Like our
mm.
generation, like we like being rewarded. Like failure
So
is
there's
not an
a
option.
certain balance between strict, but we're also recognizing efforts and
Yes,
excellent outputs.
kayo.
I miss teaching high school. I really do.
Really? What's the
Yeah,
difference
but of course,
now?
it comes with, the hormones. They're
Ooh,
rowdy, they're loud. So we need a lot of strategy. How do I get their attention? And so all those, but it was part of it was part of something I miss in high school.
really? And it's this like do you get a sense of it like do you get reinforced when you are able to command a rowdy bunch of boys and girls like
I'm
hormones are
happy
so
when you guys graduate. I'm happy when
oh
you
yeah, you're
don't
happy to see us
get a
go.
failing because it gives us a sense of accomplishment that our students graduate did not get a failing grade. Because of course the school. I don't know if it is okay to mention. We
Yeah,
are
go ahead.
very very strict. We really in terms of rigor of teaching, we are kind. We try to be, alam mo yung, ano bang tawag natin dun sa, what do we call the term, personal care, cura personalis. We
Oh,
also try to animate that. You remember those terms?
pure
Magis.
yeah,
Cura
personality.
Magis, yeah.
personalis. Of course, we have to ensure
AMDG.
that we're not just teaching the content. We're teaching people. We're teaching human beings. So that was inculcated in the way we do things while teaching in a high school math, right? But of course, even if we do care, we really fail them if they don't deserve the grade. You get
Yeah.
Yeah.
that impression, right? So me personally, I compute the grades as is. I don't jack up
No,
whatever
Doctor.
So when everyone gets a passing grade, oh my God, it was really an accomplishment. Thank you, thank
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
But you
that's
know,
all you needed, huh?
teaching high school, I become very emotional every time I check papers.
We never
You
saw
know,
that.
I call it an emotional
Yeah.
activity for me, and that's the reason why I hate checking papers, that part of teaching. Because every time I check, I'd say, ginawa ko naman lahat. I tried my best. How come these
Okay.
students do not get it? So
Hmm.
that
How
those
do you
are
do?
things that's coming to my mind whenever I check paper. So parang so ito yung mga activity na nangyayari when I check paper. Ano ba? Mga ganun.
I
Yeah.
get
So
you.
yun ang,
Nobody sees
those
that.
are the behind the scene when I check your papers, guys.
You
Mhm.
did mention there, like, also making people feel okay to fail. So I like that. I really love that, because like failure back then was really like demonized. Like
Yes, I agree.
failure is not an option.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like, but now with this approach that you have I'm just going to drop. See, you're now the director of CITL, right?
Mhm.
Of
Mhm.
USTP, and you guys are spearheading this CDIO. Was that? Am I right?
CDIO.
CDIO
It's an innovative framework, innovation framework.
innovation framework, and
Uh-huh.
you innovate,
Nice.
including that. Do you include failure in that innovation as well?
Um, yes, of course, because the students are trained. Because when you train for that innovation mindset, okay, that's part of the training for our students. You don't usually get the approval. I mean, you have to train the students what is in the real world. So basically, these are in the team. I have colleagues who are considered master trainers. They are certified by CDIO, and they were trained a lot of times in Singapore. So basically, this CDIO is conceive, design, innovate, conceive, design, implement, operate. This is basically for the engineering. So for the engineering, the framework that they use is they conceive, they design, and they implement, and then they operate. So we're now trying to shift um, from the traditional teaching in the engineering, because
Oh,
when you talk to the industries, you'd really you'd really get inputs like the graduates are not ready for the industry. So there's a gap. What you're teaching in the university and what is expected
In the real
as
world.
workforce in
Yeah.
the
this
there's
is
a
your
skill
term right here.
mismatch.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like
That's
that.
true.
When I came across
So
this word skill mismatch, like,
yes,
wow, it's
yeah, and
true.
that's the gap, right? So that's what we are looking at right now. So let's reconsider how we are training our students and how we are teaching. And so, are we still lecturing in the class?
I'm guilty on that. When I used to teach, like I just so heavily relied on kids having journals and having them like do your homework, and then the end it's not them doing the homework, it's part parents and part them, and like a lot of like discussions back and forth, but not a lot of this CDIO. Like it's really caught my attention. Like I'm not trying to promote this kind of movement, but it really caught my attention because more on practical applications.
Yes, it is.
I learn by doing. Like I admit I am not an intellectual. I can't comprehend heavy text and books. I rely so much on experience. A lot of
That's
people
actually
think I
millennials.
freaking fail. A lot of people think I fail, I fail, I fail. But I actually learned a lot from those. Like I'm here now. Like I think I'm here now because of the learnings I got from those failures.
But that's true. When students fail, is it really because they don't know? is it really because they can't apply, or is it really that there's a need to redesign how we design our instruction?
I think there's redesign because like I don't think the old modules already works. Like
Correct.
for
Correct.
now, especially now, me being a student. By the way, I'm studying again.
This
Um,
guy.
um, I found it more appealing and more challenging to study the modules. It's a
Mhm.
different. It's like you teach yourself. Then
Yes.
I had to relearn. I had to like unload everything. I had to be smart on my approach on studying. So I had to be more technical. But it made me more resourceful on the things that I
True.
need to research on. So I think there's a positive, and the world is. I think the field of education is or also evolving, and I don't think there's always this innovation kind of thing like
Mm-hmm.
on this practical applications, especially on my field.
Exactly.
It's not just all about learnings, and it's more on you had to apply it in real scenarios.
But it's it takes a paradigm shift, especially let's consider a teacher who's been teaching for like 30 years. It's not easy to just abandon lecture, right? Only saying that we should not lecture anymore because there are really certain times when lecture is more appropriate. But when you're teaching in the university and when you are preparing your students for the industry, and then we also teaching your students to develop the skills and that innovation mindset, the professor has to consider being a facilitator, and so you have to be facilitative. But that takes quite some time because you have to be ready to be a guide on the side, right? And not as they say, a sage on the stage. And sometimes when you're so used to teaching that lecturing is the only way, and that if you're not lecturing, it seems like you're not teaching. But we have to look at the frame that even if you're lecturing, but if your students are not learning, then maybe there was no teaching at all,
Yeah.
right? Also, we have to consider other factors, no? Kasi of course, some of the faculty would say, sa amin na lang ba nabiblame lahat? But, we have to consider that if the students are not learning and things, and they cannot apply, up, demonstrate that
The-
they have learned the skill, then was there teaching at all?
no learning.
Something like that. So it takes, we have to consider, we have to look into what are the needs, and we have to also consider the context. Remember, that's always when you were
Context.
in Ateneo, no? What's the context? Who are our students right now? So whatever was effective,
I'm really
right?
curious with that, doctor, because
Miss Amphie.
these kids these days, like, there's this influx of information in the internet.
Yeah,
I think they best, to be honest, in my opinion, I think they learn best from these access to these internet than
correct.
they do from the educational system, because it's more available and it's more entertaining and it's more reinforcing. Everything they want, everything they need, they get it from there. Whereas for me, like, are the schools providing enough, like, reinforcing, like, lessons, or like reinforcing, like real time app, I mean, not really real time applications, because that's what the school is trying to teach these kids, but
Mm-hmm.
are they really fun? Are they really reinforcing? Because I can really attest to that, because part of my job as a behavioral therapist, we have to make the skill or the behavior very reinforcing for these kids in order
Mm-hmm.
for them to learn the skill, to acquire the skill. So this is something we call as skill acquisition. The target skill is to brush their own teeth. At the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, this skill doesn't have this connect. I mean, we go down to this binary level to brushing teeth, because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we teach them how to brush teeth, but it's not reinforcing for her.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, for us, it's reinforcing for us because we want our breath to smell
Mm-mm.
good. We want to clean our teeth. That alone is reinforcing. We don't want to get embarrassed. But as for someone who I am teaching, it has to be at the point like it's very reinforcing. I want to ask you, Doc, how do you make learning this time during the pandemic very reinforcing for our learners?
That's very challenging, as always. It's very difficult, especially in this situation right now. We either you're we have students that, of course, in other universities now, they have online.
Yeah.
Our students, our issues are actually more of the internet, because
Oh
let's not
yeah.
deny it,
Third
we're in the
world.
Philippines.
Third world.
Yeah, third world.
I don't want to say it, but really sometimes I feel that reality that we are in a developing country, that's even a more appropriate and politically correct term, but really, para sa akin, in my opinion, parang whatever you call it, it's still third world. So anyway, those are the challenges, if I
Mm,
may, I don't, if real talk lang. So, how do you make it attractive, if that's the
yes. Yep.
other,
That's yep.
how do you engage them, that's another challenge amidst this situation. Of course, some of our students are just trying to survive,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because the reality is that we have students in the Philippines, regardless of whatever level, whose parents are out of work, whose parents are, especially when they are in the basic education, and I don't know, and then they have this module, and the parents has to also supposed to be guide at home, but they lack the necessary qualification to even help
Yeah.
those
I
things.
mean,
So
all they
these
know is just
are,
parenting.
yeah, these are the challenges. But of course, for the teacher, the challenge is we were really not prepared
No one
for
is.
even distance education, flexible learning,
Yeah.
and even because before COVID, we're not even doing hybrid.
What's
I
hybrid?
mean, even if we don't have a data, we know that that is the reality in the Philippines. So good for the other universities. My university, some of my colleagues, and in the university, because we have an infrastructure, we're doing already some hybrid. So somehow we're still shocked that we need to shift to a
Yeah.
distance education, flexible learning modality, but we still need to do a lot of preparations, and that's where the my office tried to help and assist our faculty in the university, as well as to the region. So even with the preparation of course modules, because course modules right now there's no teacher already in front, right? The module has to do all the explaining, the introduction, the questioning,
Yeah.
the assessing, and all that.
But isn't
And
that
of course,
convenient on your side though? Like for the teachers?
it takes a lot of preparation, and
Oh
that
yeah.
requires a lot from the faculty.
Mm,
It looks easy because they're not in the university, they're not in the campus. It seems like nasa bahay naman kayo. But
yeah.
the reality is parang nagto 24 hours na ang mga
Yes.
faculty, mga teachers preparing the module, because I've experienced that myself. I teach a senior high as well, and I also teach the PhD for
Cool.
statistics. So for senior high, I also prepare the course module. Because we release course module per week. I need to prepare the course module ahead, so that by the time it's supposed to be releasing. So things are, I need the module is not a book, because the books are not designed to
To be
teach.
compressed. Yep.
The correct, the
Yeah.
books and the
They're just
handouts,
references.
they're supposed to be references and resources. So you don't just give them the handout or and then bahala kayo, because when we were in the face to face or in person, the books were there because the teacher were present. The teacher was present, right?
Mm.
The teachers are there. So when you are preparing a course module or a weekly module, you begin with an introduction that as if you're there in front of them. That's why the design of the module is, hi, last week, remember we were talking about,
Yeah.
and then of course you have to make sure that you arrange that it doesn't become very textual. Would you like to read Paulo and Michael all text and your
Uh,
No.
college, your
no.
high school? You don't like that, right?
No.
I
No.
need to design a module that the introduction is quite short. It has cartoon, it has comics, it has
Something
you know the
relatable.
e-
Yeah, something
Yeah.
even
relatable.
the
Something contextual
even
to
the
their life.
fonts are
Yeah.
changing, something like that. Although we have a template, but there are times when you had a question and then you try this and then maybe you, and then of course collaborating with other. How do you do group work this time?
Google
Paolo, how
Meet.
do you do it?
We meet in we talk in Messenger, or we do
Yeah,
our own meeting. Then we
correct,
discuss, but not really face to face. Just like
correct. So it's
holographically.
also challenging for the students because we have to also develop that they can collaborate even at this kind of modality, because 21st century is a the 21st century skill. One of those is teamwork, because no matter what,
Yeah.
how brilliant you are,
We, not
and
me.
you know this already because you're already in the field, Paolo and Mike. Even if you're so brilliant, if you are not even a team player and you don't have the collaborative skill, you're nobody would even want to work with you. So
Yeah.
True.
we have to develop that while they are in school. So we also have to teach them how. We have to also teach them what tools. We also have to process their, because there are problems in collaboration. Remember when
Yeah.
you were in college, you have issues among yourselves with group because may mga,
Yes.
because there are also
Opinions.
some
Yeah.
people who are not working.
Dowlims. Yeah, dowlims.
Only,
Oh my
No. Yeah.
god. Oh my god. I'm guilty of that.
but you know that thou limbs is not used the term right now. That's actually your generation. So you
Oh,
have
what's
to
it called
better
now?
you better
Yeah.
explain that
Update.
to
Dawat
the term now,
limpyo.
because I use that term now with a senior high. They don't know that term anymore.
Wow. Phased out phase out man yan na term ba? Yeah.
Oh, so but I'm glad that the generation right now, you don't need to teach them how to use the technology because
Of course.
it's part of them. They're immigrants. Is that the right term? They are there. It's part of them. So you don't need to teach them that the icon here becomes. You just have to suggest that this particular
Internet
tool.
generation. Yeah, they're the internet
Yes.
generation. Yeah, so that's what
Yes.
I noticed when I started going back to school. Then I started to take notes, and my classmates were just picturing the slides, everything,
True.
anything, picture. I was not used to that. I was used to, like, doing
Really
the
taking notes.
taking notes, and no one was taking notes, and
Correct.
so
Correct.
I had to adjust also.
Oh, although right now we're when we help our students to brainstorm, like when they are coming up with during the face to face, no, like for example 2 years ago or a year ago before the pandemic, we also encourage them to really take note because there's a research that when you're taking notes, half of the information are already remembered because there's a connection between you taking notes and
Yeah.
some
More
wires to your
senses.
brain.
Yeah, more senses are involved.
Yeah,
Like I tend to
true.
remember stuff. Like I heard this guy quote. I'm gonna drop his name. Owen McCarthy of Imoha Podcast mentioned that when you involve emotions into what you're doing, and on the specific like action you're doing, the memory tends to be remembered more.
Correct,
And
correct.
especially when you engage all your senses, eyes, ears. That's why you remember movies. That's why um yeah, you just remember more when senses are engaged.
That's one of the things that we help create. No, that's a mindset. You have to be ready. That's why we part of the briefing that we do with the students is that rejection therapy.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, this is
mm,
Yeah.
cool. I
Like
like that.
yeah, because it's difficult when you get rejected, and if you feel like you did something wrong, it discourages the students
Yeah.
more.
correct. And in the Philippines, they would want to
Yes,
only hear
good things.
good news.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But of course, the reality in the field is that there are clients who would not even accept your proposal,
Yeah.
your your project, your solution. So so in the design thinking and in the CDIO, we're actually helping our students really come up with, let's say, for example, an innovative solution. And when they present that, they have to really consider the target users, the 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 community. It's there because the who will use the solution? It's the community, right? So when you present to the community, you have to be ready that sometimes they may not really be happy with what you're proposing.
True.
But before you even arrive to the proposing the solution, that's the reason why we have this particular framework where we help our students um, consider the context. That's why we have the sense and sensibility. I'm talking about design thinking framework now. Sense and sensibility, and then we have the empathy, so that you'd really be able to see the real need, not
Actually, I agree to that because those are like real, like more real life application, applicable
correct,
skills. Like,
correct.
no offense to what the schools are teaching. Okay, back then I kind of also felt like now, like I didn't feel the need to be taught this, and I just had no say because I'm young. Probably
You're
felt
a
like I'm dumb.
student.
Probably felt like I'm dumb to question things, But looking back at it now, like I have no actual use of this subject or skill in what I'm doing. But it pays to be holistic, right? That's what they're trying to do. But actually, these are the things that we need, like empathy, sense and sensibility, eating rejection, like, more of emotional intelligence, right?
True,
We need
true.
that.
I remember while you were sharing, Mike, I remember my pamangkin, my nephew, who asked in high school, who asked his teacher, the question is, why are we learning this? And the teacher, of course, got offended and of course failed me. I don't know if it's the reason why, baka hindi naman talaga, but it
Possibly.
got me thinking, because when I teach, although sometimes, remember when I teach in high school, although it's just X, Y, and something like that, I'd always begin with why are we even learning this, because in the real world it's something like this, and then we go to the usual algebra. I should start being convinced with myself that there's a sense of learning these quadratic equations, and there's a sense of learning this parabola. That if you add and all this, then you can do this engineering stuff. But
I get
really,
nightmares from that.
but
No,
really,
actually,
why, right? You
yeah.
have to you have to tell the students why, or at the end of your discussion, they have to be able to see why are they even learning this, for what.
Why, Mike? What do you think, Mike?
Like I like that you asked that question because that's always what we do in my field, because why are we setting him up to fail? Set him up to succeed. Put him in a position where he may need to use these skills. I agree with that. Like, why do we still keep teaching things that are not practical for in context wise and for the kids and for these digital natives? That's why I asked you in the beginning, like, oh, I think I haven't asked you this yet. Like, would it come to a day kids will be learning from the internet, and institutions or schools and universities will have to migrate to the social media platforms because that's where the attention is at? I mean, uh, and I know it's going to be challenge having to separate social media and school, and even not
Mm,
challenge now. Kids are learning in distance learning and having to separate home from school. It's even quite, that's more of a challenge. But again, like, I think schools should have to adapt
correct.
what's contextual these days. I mean,
Correct.
we still need the
I agree.
doctors, we still need the nurses, we still need the engineers. You need the teachers. But for those who aren't, I think for those who aren't even sure, I think
That's
schools need to.
the mindset. And 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 sometimes when I think about Finland,
Mhm.
I envy maybe what kind of people are there? Why is it easier to shift if they consider that something is more relevant, a curriculum needs to be revamped, or a curriculum needs to change, or a grading system needs to be dumped and something like that. So sometimes I'd wonder, it maybe is about people, and
Politics.
I
It's
don't want to
that's
That's
it.
about
mention that,
I
Pau.
know. I know, but
it's
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 like
something we don't talk as
it's
well.
I know. It's just that word. It's just like there's too many factors that
Yeah.
there's too many people like refuses to they what I notice about Filipinos is the adaptability to change is quite
Correct.
it's quite hard, quite difficult.
Yeah.
It's like
And then I don't know if it really requires a lot of time and a lot of politics, a lot of bureaucracy. Okay, so those are something that are realities here, but
we
at the
can
end of
work
the day, I
around.
would I would not make it a reason for not doing something. That's the
Right.
reason why I always still get inspired with colleagues in the center to, alam mo yung, it's difficult. There are opportunities that they come your way and you just grab them, and but you know so what motivates me is always whatever helps others, and then my prayers always, um, use me, Lord, use my skills that I want to use the gift that you've given me, to be able to facilitate so that others may learn, facilitate so that others may be able to also help others. Those are simple prayers.
Nice.
So things come in our way, opportunities, mga gadon.
And you grab all of them, I think, because I can remember you back in college. You even had a role in a play.
Yeah,
I can
you
remember that because,
remembered.
yeah, of course I remember. I told you I remember, but I remember that because you, out of all the people in the crowd, you picked me specifically to answer something. I got embarrassed. Like,
Oh
oh
my God.
no, don't pick
Were
At
you
ikaw
me.
ang napili because
Don't.
that was a
Yes.
one act play, and
Yeah.
I had to be quick because some of these are not scripted. And of course,
Oh,
you were chosen. I pick you among the
really?
crowd, and
Really
I
sad
had
is
to
that?
have that quick things to say to you, and that was comedy, right? And
Yeah,
people
it
should
was.
laugh.
Yeah.
An
It's
audience
funny.
should laugh, and if they don't laugh, I failed. So remember
Was that
the
was that Mr. Tuko? I can't remember. What's the title of that? Uh,
um. I
so
have
long
it here.
ago.
It's Welcome to Intel Star. It's about
Oh,
the call center agent,
yes,
and then I
yes.
was a trainer of people in the call center, and of course the crowd was surprised that they were my something like sort of trainees, right? Because
Yeah.
the scene was like I was training all of you, and I'm your call center trainer and something like that. So during that time, I was trying to speak with an American accent, and it was difficult because I'm a Filipino, and but
It is.
I tried my best.
You are very talented, ma'am. Like I can remember, doctor, ma'am. I
Thank
can,
you.
I can be very, and it inspires a lot. Like I kind of like think back to the days. Like I can't be one dimensional because, you know, um, the apprentice has to outdo the master. And I always thought of you as like a sensei. Like, man, she can even do that. Like it inspires me. Like I can even be more. That's why we did me and Koy Sarmento, who's very virtuoso, by the way. This is just one of the things that he does during his day.
No, it's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, like, but yeah,
Mm.
really, it's
Arvin
fun.
says I felt a big relief. I sat at the back row
During the
during the
show.
show. So
Yeah. Arvin said he was my classmate back then. I'm really bad with names, and this will forever haunt me. Hello, Arvin. Thank you for dropping by. We don't want to hold you for long,
uh-huh.
Doc Amphie. Bro, do you have like one more, any more things you want to ask our gracious guest?
Yeah, I just want to share because I have my memory of Ma'am Amphi was back in my freshman year in Xavier. Sorry,
You
in
were
the school.
cute.
Yeah, and I struggled in the subject, to be honest. Then
Oh,
it was around like third quarter. Then she decided to reshuffle me, pair me with a pair me the failing ones, pair with a
oh,
smart ones. And the funny thing
My
is
God, you
the one,
remember.
yeah, because
yeah.
it's the reason why my grades increased drastically. It drastically increased big time. Then I was paired with Donna Salubre. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Shout out
smartest.
to, yeah. I was paired with her. Then my grades like went up, like really went up. And the funny thing is, she's my prof now. And then
Oh,
yeah,
in where?
Oh, okay.
she's a CI in
Please
nursing.
tell her I
Yeah.
miss her, huh?
Yeah,
I hope she
I'll
remembers
tell
us.
her. So we have this like weird. Every time in school, I have to call her mom. I have to, of course, respect the environment in school. But that's my memory because I always remember that my grades increased because of that method.
True.
But I'll tell
Eh,
you a secret there.
well,
I'll reveal now.
okay.
I
Okay.
though your partners, I wrote them individual letters.
Oh,
But I said this is
Oh.
going to be our secret. I want you to take care of, and then I put a name,
yeah, they
and
took care of
then
me. Yeah.
Made them
and then
accountable.
I want you to always check on them. Remember what? Can you remember what they did? Every time I have a lecture, and then I'd say, "Can you guys try this?" The sort of a C-work, right? Just and
Yeah.
then I'm sure you noticed they'd say, "Okay, so what's your answer? Do we have the same? No, this is how you do it."
Yeah.
They did that to you, right?
Yeah.
Because that
I
was
was
part
very
of the
encouraged.
letter.
Yeah, I was very encouraged. Like I was really motivated, and I really learned a lot. Like that was my memory back then. It's
Wow.
nice. Yeah.
And I always share that pout to teachers as well. I always share
Thanks.
that to teacher. I tell I and then during a retreat, one of the Donna like meaning the tutors that I asked to pair with those kind of struggling or have challenges in math. During retreat, they tell me I was trusted by you, and so they're also encouraged to
Yeah.
it also helped their confidence because when somebody
Tayo.
trusts them, something like that. So I would
Yeah,
say
especially the
I was
bright
a good
ones,
thing.
man. Like the
And
smart
you
ones encourage you, man. Like
and it's part of that CDIO
Mhm.
practical application. Like when you teach it, the learning gets retained. I
Correct.
think it's
Perfect,
one of
Mike.
the top of the hierarchy. Like
Correct. 95%. You learn more when you teach others. I think Paolo and Donna, Donna and a lot of Donnas that I assign in class would really be encouraged to that it's not in the class, it's not about competition,
Yeah,
right?
I
It's
remember.
not about the grades. It's more of let's try to help one another learn this stuff, right?
100.
And I think that's something that we need to also teach our students, right? It's not trying to outdo one another, right? So change mindset. But Pao, thank you for sharing that, huh?
Yeah. I just sobrang na-stuck sa akin yung memory na yun. And well, every time I see Donna, yun yung memory ko sa kanya. Yung moment na yun, ano, like, you encourage me, Ani mag-answer,
Send my
like,
regards,
X
ha?
squared, like, yeah, I will.
Yes, I don't know, parang hindi kami Facebook friend, but the does she still have a blonde hair? Kasi yun
No,
ang ano sa first year, di ba?
no, yun yung sa
Medyo, di
first
ba,
year.
blondie
Oh,
yung ano
medyo,
niya.
medyo brown, light
Light,
brown.
light brown
Light
during
brown.
that time. Oo. Sige, thank you. Send my regards.
Of
It really
course.
warms the heart when you get these memories from your previous
It
students,
does,
and
it
I
does.
think you have a lot of people under your belt already. Like you took a lot of people under your wing, and I think that's why, again, like, not trying to flatter you and all, you always look so vibrant and young because having been around like kids
Thank
also
you.
makes you young, right? Like
Yes, that's what
it,
I love about being with young people.
Yeah, the energy.
the enthusiasm is
Correct.
still there, the passion. I think if you stop connecting also to the young gens, like
I
I
hope I
feel
will
like,
not be.
yeah, there will be a disconnect because I'm a teacher. I mean, yeah, by nature, like when I stopped teaching, I kind of felt old, started dying and getting old. So I think I need to get more connected with more kids. We also have kids on this show, and this is also nice that we have someone who is a previous teacher of ours come to
Yeah.
share her time. Before we let you go, though,
Mhm.
we have a signature question on this show, and you are not exempted, and
Oh my
you have
God,
to
what
answer
is it?
this one, bro. With that memory of yours, can you do the honors?
Oh, of course, man.
And what is it?
Ma'am, so we
Hmm.
just have a basic question. All of our guests, we ask them their very own personal definition of huge upside. For you, how do you define? For you, what is your personal definition of a huge upside?
Huge upside. Ano ba? Don't know. Honest. When you say upside, can you please help me? Um, can you elaborate what you mean by upside
Upside is
from
like
your
potential
your?
plus, like it's like a potential, or it can be
Yes,
a potential,
potential,
or
a silver lining or
yeah,
something like that.
or something positive. Like, look at the upside of this. Let's say
Yes.
of a situation.
If that is the something, or if there's anything, siguro pinaka relevant this time is the pandemic. What's really the huge upside of this? But I'd bring you to the education. The huge upside is that we're able to have. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Um, Thank you. We have the pandemic, no, but we saw that we can. We saw that kaya natin together. I'm talking about my colleagues in the university. That at the start looks like this is really going to be a difficult year, especially last year. It looks like it's going to be parang dead end. But the huge upside is we were able to see that teamwork, collaboration is the key in whatever difficulty, in whatever um parang dark situation we are in. If we are together, if we have colleagues, if we try to understand one another, our students as well, walang hindi kaya. Yun ang
Key for
Shout out to
that.
Mom Lily, 1H. Like, yes, 1H.
you
1H.
I
guys funny.
remember. Yeah, I remember. Francis Xavier. Yeah.
I even remember asa mo na room. Lili
Nami
no?
sa, I think Nami sa left side, ma'am. Like, if
Yeah, you were next to our
left
room,
side.
1G.
Yeah. 1G si Mike, then 1H ko. That was it.
Second floor.
First floor.
That's
Second,
two.
yeah, second floor.
Second
Yes,
floor, yeah.
two rooms from the stairs.
CR. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, one eye, then one H. Yeah, second one.
Correct. I still remember that room.
All right.
Well, mabuhay ang 1H
One-
people. Lol. Go Donna. Go Nico. How about where's
One
mine?
G. Who was your
1G.
patron saint, man? Who was your
Oh my god, I'm so bad with
Arupe? Are
memory.
you Arupe?
So
No.
no, we're not.
So you also experienced na nung they're already using the saints.
Yes.
It
Yeah, they
was
were.
one.
From
There was the letter, then there was the patron saint.
Yeah.
Oh, the transition time.
Yeah.
So when you were in third year, was
When
there
I
Ma'am
think
Lily
third
right
year was
here.
the
Lily,
saints na.
you let's
Saints na
all
siya.
cut this because Lily is trying to reveal something.
Okay.
Oh my god, and Yuri is here.
Yeah, I invited her over. Anyway,
Shout
this
out.
was nice. This was nice to
Just
connect
so
with you
nice, ma'am,
again,
to have you here.
Oh, it's so
Doctor
nice
Amphie,
talking to
man.
you. You know, I told Michael I told Michael kanina, I'm not used to on the spot something like this, and I hope it's just more of catching up and all.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then Michael says, that's impossible to ano no kasi I've been doing webinar, but in the webinar, alam mo
Work
yung
mode.
flow,
Yeah,
and
there's
I
a
can
flow.
control
There's a
it.
structure.
Yeah.
Here, parang it's
So
Free for all.
spontaneous.
Yeah. Open
Free
count
flow.
on angles. Yeah,
oh,
understand.
Yeah.
but I just wanna I just but I said yes because one, um, it's new. I love something that I have not tried, yung mga explore on anong nandun, and kahit
Have you thought
kinakabahan
of
ako.
doing it? Have you thought of doing
Oh,
it? Like starting your own pod?
I tried. Parang in my mind, yes, I try to entertain,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't have that courage. So, eto muna ako, guess nyo.
Guess no.
And,
Or you can come back again, you know?
but
We could talk.
parang it's fun.
It's
It's
fun.
fun,
It's fun
huh?
because it's
Definitely, it's
relaxing. Yeah, because you get to talk about
Yes.
serious stuff and fun stuff at the same time. It's
Correct,
a mix.
correct. Kanina, di ba, parang,
Serious siya.
um,
Oh, serious.
Yeah,
we were just
serious.
catching
Thinking
up, and then we
design
were
and
talking
thinking.
about education, and then,
Yeah,
so, this is fun, and so I thank you for this
of
opportunity to
course.
join you
No
this
problem, ma'am.
evening.
Definitely.
Very,
And
very
of
happy to
course, I
have you
miss
here.
you guys. I miss you,
Same
but
here.
I'm more proud of what you are today.
Oh,
Oh.
thanks.
Thank you again, Dr.
Thank you again, ma'am.
Amphie,
Like,
and we wish to have you
Thank you
again
everyone for
in your
joining
most free
us.
time.
I had
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. And for anybody who's still tuning in right now, thank you for the 11,000 out there who's still watching this. Salamat kayo in the comment section. We can't feature everyone, but you know how it goes. Thank you so much, guys. And
one
this has
H.
been
Respect.
1H, 1G. Thank you, ma'am.